Topic of race realism and the bell curve has had a new surge in popularity as of recently, especially with the rise of the alt-right. It's very popular online, and I've talked about this before, and there are a lot of fans of the ideology. Now we're going to be looking at a clip here of Noam Chomsky talking about the bell curve. Check it out.
First of all, I want to say just very quickly that last night I saw this Time magazine with the front cover regarding that IQ book that you had mentioned, and I was just appalled by it.
No,
because I thought if I was
yeah.
a black man in this country, I would not know what to do with myself.
How about if you're a black woman?
O.J. Simpson.
How about a black woman? Did you read the article?
Or a black
the
woman.
article claims that one of the things it discusses is the idea that black women don't nurture their children. And that's because they came from Africa where the climate was such and such. This is stuff that's right out of the Nazis.
It's just, I was thinking, how would I feel? You know what? I don't know what to do. It's just rage. Maybe I would wake up every day. Maybe I'd be despondent. Maybe I try to relate to other people as human beings. But inside there would be a burning fire.
See, but I think I agree with that emotional reaction. But if you think about it, the right way to respond is to ask, what are they doing it for? And they're doing it for a very simple reason. Like I said last night, 40% of the kids in New York, most of them who are black and Hispanic, are living below the poverty line. That means they're destroyed. Okay. Well, you can't, and that's the result of very definite social policies which are supported by the New York Times. Okay. There are certain social policies which are driving people down to destruction. Well, you can't say that plainly. So you need some cover. Well, what's the cover? Okay, bad genes. Who knows? Maybe. But once you understand that, then you know how to deal with it. Well, it's not that their audience wants to hear that. It's that, some of it does. It's that's the proper ideology. Just as it was proper for the Nazis at some point to say Jews are a virus that's destroying our society, it is proper for the New York Times to run articles taking seriously the idea that black mothers don't nurture their children. And like, take me, Ashkenazic Jews, we're supposed to be at the top. We have small families because that's what we're like. That's why my mother came from a family with 11 kids, because Ashkenazic Jews have small families. Of course, she was an East European, living in a peasant society. Maybe that had something to do with it. No, that's not what social science tells you. Okay, well, that's, these things are such transparent ideological weapons that you shouldn't even bother arguing about them. We should just understand them transparently for what they are. A real commissar culture, which is dedicated to trying to obscure the most elementary truths, and therefore is able to do things like this on the front cover of the New York Times. Well, that's the world we're living in. And, you can understand the emotional reaction, and it's easily understandable, but it's not the right one. Because what's going on is very transparent. This doesn't have anything to do with evil and God. This has to do with rich, powerful people trying to justify the fact that they are pursuing social policies which are forcing children to die. That's what it has to do with.
So here's the interesting thing about the bell curve. Now, basically the main reason of the bell curve was to advocate for these certain policy recommendations that Charles Murray had. Now, basically what they wanted to do was abolish the welfare state and prevent immigration or reduce immigration, because they said that essentially having the welfare state encourages low IQ people to have babies, which is not good. So basically this is a way to kind of foil up this attempt to destroy the welfare state in, these people are low IQ, so stop funding them or stop incentivizing them to have kids. So it's really shady and shifty that they do that, because, it's very stupid to argue to end the welfare state or welfare programs because it's incentivizing low IQ people. And again, that would then entail that if you were to essentially better their environment, they're not going to have higher IQs, or at least, or significantly higher IQs than they would prior to that. And of course, intelligence is, something that's more complicated than that, obviously. But the whole point of the bell curve was to make a case for arguing for those policy recommendations. So, you can agree with the facts of, these are the IQ averages. I don't dispute any of that. What I'm disputing is those policy recommendations, because I don't think that the answer, to that is you just let poor people be poor because, oh, you're low IQ, so we're not going to incentivize you to have babies, which is absolutely and utterly ridiculous, as well as trying to reduce immigration for that reason is very stupid. And, the goal of welfare is to better the lives of people and to make them more, better financially, in a better financial situation. And the only way to really get them up to that position is through welfare. So this kind of, wrapped thing that they kind of trick people with. They get people caught up in the numbers about these average IQ scores, and then they just kind of toss out very because I didn't hear anybody talk about the fact that all these commentators that talk about the bell curve and Charles Murray, they never say that, oh yeah, these are the policy positions that they recommend based on this information. So I'm not disputing the facts. What I'm one thing is, I would say that a huge part of IQ is environmental. A very big chunk of IQ is environmental, and I think that, it can be embedded massively environmentally. But what I'm saying is we should not abolish the welfare state, especially not on those grounds, and as well as we shouldn't reduce immigration for that purpose, because those people's children, if on welfare, will end up being higher IQ if they get into a better economic standing, and that should be the goal. So I think that, it's just a trick, and I think that the last sentence that Noam Chomsky states there is extremely exquisite and smart and a perfect description of this issue.